Hey guys, Orange Dream here. Contrary to popular belief, I'm not dead. I'm just here living in Chicago. I dressed up all nicely for this review. Actually, I just had an interview with the university I'm attending, so wish me luck. But yeah, I went to WWE Extreme Rules on Sunday. This was my second ever WWE pay-per-view. I went to WrestleMania 23 in Detroit several years ago, but this is my first WWE event in Chicago. So I'm going to be giving you my recap of the live experience. I'm not going to be rating matches or anything because, you know, it's much different seeing matches live than on video. So yeah, Sunday I took the train and a bus out to Rosemont, which is just outside of Chicago, to the Allstate Arena. Took an hour and a half both ways to get there and back, but it was definitely worth it. This was just, overall, this was a really fun experience. I got the sense that this wasn't a blowaway show or anything like that, probably one of the weaker Extreme Rules shows, but I had a lot of fun. Everything was decent to good. Nothing was bad, nothing dragged. Just a lot of good, solid action. The show flowed nicely. So yeah, I had a lot of fun. You know, I think some things might have been a little disappointing, but the overall experience, I have no complaints. Got to the Allstate Arena. First impression was that it's a lot smaller than I expected, just because watching previous WWE events, it looks a lot bigger. They use those wide-angle lenses to great effect. So, but it's a really nice venue. Lots of space. You know, no lines for the bathroom. They have adequate bathrooms. They have a surplus of urinals in the bathroom, which is fantastic. So no waiting in line, in and out. The walkways are nice and spacious. So top marks to the Allstate Arena. Fantastic venue. The crowd, this was the biggest surprise to me. Watching previous WWE pay-per-view events that have taken place at the Allstate Arena, the crowds are kind of smirky and usually pretty energetic and raucous, known as some of the better crowds in all of wrestling. This was a much different crowd than I was expecting. It was kind of not necessarily like an older crowd, but most people were 30s and 40s. Not a lot of children, not a lot of, you know, teens or anything. It was kind of an older crowd than I was expecting. The crowd was kind of relaxed. They were just kind of there to have fun and just sit back and enjoy the show. They popped for the big stuff, but they weren't buzzing and crazy throughout the whole show, which was an interesting atmosphere. I didn't necessarily mind it. Probably didn't come across too great on pay-per-view, but being there live, it was fun. So anyway, getting onto the card, the first match was, since Daniel Bryan was not medically cleared to compete, the pre-show, replacing the tag match as the pre-show, was Bad News Barrett against Neville, which was pretty awesome because I've never seen as many indie wrestling shows as I've been to. I've never seen Neville. Very impressive. It was cool to see him get kind of a showcase. This was kind of just introducing him to the crowd a little more. He got a nice win. It wasn't on the main pay-per-view, but it was basically a pay-per-view win. He was good as the face in peril and got to show some of his stuff. Got the impressive win with a red arrow. This was all around. This got, you know, the crowd was into it. Kind of set the tone for the whole show. This was exactly what you want out of a pre-show match, so no complaints here. Then we got to the main card. We opened with Dean Ambrose versus Luke Harper in a Chicago street fight. This match was fun, but it was kind of weird. I was expecting a lot more, considering both these guys can dish out the punishment and take the punishment. They didn't really go too crazy with this match. They kind of both specialize in street fight type matches, so I was hoping for maybe a little more here. It was really fun. It was going along fine until they started fighting to the back and then just got into a vehicle and drove off and then drove back later in the show. Skip forward to later in the show. They do a chair spot, and then Ambrose gets the win with his DDT finisher. This was fun. I wish they would have just kept it all as one continuous match, maybe thrown a few more spots in there, and this would have been pretty darn good. As it is, it was pretty enjoyable, and Dean Ambrose finally gets a big pay-per-view win, so that was nice to see. Second match on the show, a Kiss Me Arse match. We had Sheamus going up against Dolph Ziggler, another favorite of mine, Dolph Ziggler. this was a really good showcase for both guys. They both kind of came off looking good here. Sheamus, I like what they're doing with him. He's kind of come back as he's kind of ditched the whole jokey face, stupid gimmick, and he's just here to kick ass and take names, which is what I've always wanted to see from Sheamus. I like his new look a lot, like his new entrance music. Everything about the presentation is a million times better in my opinion. Ziggler played the face in peril very well here, sold Sheamus' offense really well, and got the surprise win. I was shocked that Ziggler won this match, especially since they never seem to want to push him, and they're bringing Sheamus his first match back, and he's looking for a big push. But I think the point here is that Sheamus isn't so concerned with wins and losses as he is with hurting people. So he lost the match. Cool to see Ziggler get a big win, but Sheamus still came off with the last laugh by beating up Ziggler and making Ziggler kiss his ass. So we didn't get any full man ass here, which is positive in my opinion. We just got two individual cheeks from one cheek from each man. So pretty tame in the ass department, which I was okay with. Anyway, this was a good match. I really enjoyed it. Probably didn't come off as well on video, but live I had a lot of fun watching this. So third we had, which was my favorite match of the whole show, we had the tag team titles, Cesaro and Kid defending against the New Day. This was a lot of fun, really fast paced. Everyone got to show off their stuff. Cesaro in particular was really over with the crowd, as he should be because he's awesome. Just watching him and Big E, they were just very impressive with their strength, lots of cool spots, cool interactions between those two. They packed a lot of action. They got a decent amount of time, and they still just packed in the action. No, not a dull moment in this match. The New Day came away as tag champions, which I was kind of expecting Cesaro and Kid to retain. I'm not too upset by it, even though I really want Cesaro to get a push. Hopefully they continue to keep him somewhat in the picture somewhere. But yeah, this was a fun match. It's good to see the New Day because Big E and Kingston are both really talented. They deserve to be featured somewhat. So it was nice to see the tag titles, even though it was unexpected and they just were kind of forced to put this on the main card. It was still nice to see the tag team featured and have, in my opinion, the best match on the show. So then, following that, we had a Russian chain match, which I don't know what makes the chain particularly Russian, but we had Rusev against John Cena. So with this match, I was a little disappointed here because what I felt was missing from the previous two matches at Fastlane and WrestleMania was some kind of bitter feud feel, and I thought maybe the chain would allow for more of that in this match, but the chain wasn't really used to that good of effect. This was kind of just like a tug-of-war match. They're kind of just trying to pull each other toward the corners and hit moves, and there was some nice drama here and there. When one guy was getting close to the final corner, and then at the end both guys just needed that one final corner. But it was decent. I wasn't bored. I felt it seemed very short live. It seemed like not a whole lot really happened before the finish. I was kind of disappointed because Rusev, he's been putting on impressive performances here. They looked to him to kind of control the match, but he didn't really ever seem that much in control. They teased him winning, but I'd never believed for a second Cena was going to lose this match. He didn't seem very comfortable in this match. He's obviously never been in the style of match before, at least not to my knowledge. His offense using the chain didn't look very convincing. Maybe he was afraid of hurting Cena, which if you've seen enough John Cena matches, he's not afraid to take a beating for the company. So, I think he was just inexperienced. Again, it was a decently entertaining match, but I was hoping for something more. They have an I Quit match at Payback. Hopefully they add a little more intensity there, but this was a little bit disappointing. So then we had the Divas Championship. We had Nikki Bella defending against Naomi, who was filling in for Paige. And this was a nice surprise for me. This was I would say, at least live, a better than average Divas match. I would say much better than average Divas match. They didn't really have a lot of heat to it because it was kind of a thrown together match, but it was both women looked pretty good. Nikki looked better than normal to me. Her offense looked nice and crisp. Both got some nice moves in. They got a decent amount of time, not too much, not too little. Nikki retained, and yeah, this was a pretty enjoyable match. Nice surprise. So next we had the match I was dreading going into the show. We had a last man standing match between the Big Show and Roman Reigns. When I saw last man standing and Big Show, I was expecting a very plodding, boring match where Big Show just dominates and walks around very slowly. And this actually had a really nice pace to it for any last man standing match, let alone having the Big Show in it. The crowd was really into this match too. I was kind of surprised when Reigns came out. He got a very mixed reaction. But by the end of it, the crowd was on his side. He, against all odds, I would say, I was expecting this to totally destroy his push, but the crowd bought into it. By the end, they were cheering him on. He came off looking good here. They had some really cool spots in this match. They had a choke slam to the outside through a table, Big Show throwing himself through a table, a spear through a table, the announce tables, and a really cool spot where Reigns basically ran all the way around the ring and speared Big Show through the guardrail, which I've never seen anyone get that much momentum for a spear through the guardrail before, so that was a nice holy shit moment there. Yeah, this got an appropriate amount of time. They used it well. Told a very good story. Both guys came off looking strong. The Big Show, they booked really strong, and it took a lot to beat him. But in that, it made Reigns look better by having to use his ingenuity and his intelligence and his own resilience to overcome Big Show. So really through the way this match was structured and booked, they made Reigns look good here. I was really impressed. You know, he's had 3 consecutive good pay-per-view matches. This was, obviously I'm not rating matches, but if I had to guess, this was somewhere in the mid between 3 and 4 stars. So this was very, very good. And this was, you know, probably the second best match of the whole night, which was shocking to me. Yeah, this was really good stuff. Next, we had a completely pointless segment that acted as a buffer. We had Bo Dallas come out and talk shit to the crowd, and Ryback came out and destroyed him. No point to this other than to have Ryback on the show. I know they're trying to push Ryback a little bit still. The rumors that him and Wyatt are going to have a feud once Wyatt's all nice and healed up. So that might be interesting. We'll see. There's no point to this, but at least it was mercifully short just to give time between this to clean up before the cage match. So the main event was Seth Rollins, the champion. Unbelievable that Seth Rollins is the champion in a good way. Defending his title in a steel cage against Randy Orton, where the RKO is banned. So going into the show, they had a great WrestleMania match, and they didn't show everything that they were capable of in that match, so they left a little something for later matches. This match, it was a really solid match. You know, it was consistent. There was a lot going on, but I didn't think they utilized this match to the best of their ability. The cage spots were a lot of just throwing people into the cage. There was a cool suplex spot. I thought they could have, especially with the 2 guys involved, I thought they could have had more spots here. It was basically just built around Rollins trying to escape the cage, Orton trying to keep him in the cage. Obviously, Kane came into play later in the match, came in, chokeslammed both guys, which the crowd loved. You know, if I was watching this on pay-per-view, I would have absolutely hated this, but live, it was just kind of cool that the crowd was getting into it at the end and they were cheering for Kane. So, I don't know, that was fun. The energy was fun toward the end of this match. Rollins hits the RKO, gets out of the cage, retains his championship. I had fun watching this main event. I thought it could have been a much better match, given especially how well they worked at Mania. But overall, I can't complain about the show. Some things under-delivered, but I had fun watching everything. So, you know, this was overall a really good experience, and I'm glad I went. It'll be interesting to see how it probably will not come off that well watching the replay. But, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Raw's coming in, I think it's July, so I might head out to the Allstate Arena again. It's a really cool, fun venue, and good experience. for me, at least me personally, WWE still got some good momentum. They're building some good things going forward, so it's interesting to see where they'll go from here. Not the best show they could have done, but an acceptable way to keep the ball rolling, in my opinion. So that's all I have. I guess stay tuned for more Chicago coverage in the future, and keep watching Strong Style Studios. See you later.